안녕하세요. 오늘 리뷰할 영상은 유튜버 닥터 노웨어의 작품 The ODT 컴펜디엄입니다. 닥터 노웨어, 어디서 들어본 것 같으신가요? 이걸 보시면 아마 생각나실 겁니다. 물론 이분이 닥터 노웨어는 아니고요. 닥터 노웨어의 작품 더 보일드 원 페노메논에 등장하는 더 보일드 원이라는 존재입니다. 닥터 노웨어는 이분입니다. 제가 리뷰하려고 찾아보니 이분이 무려 07년생이더라고요. 한국 나이론 현재 고3이고 심지어 더 보일드원 페노메넘을 업로드했을 땐 고2. 24년 3월 영상이니 제작기간 생각하면 고1에 이 대단한 작품을 만들었다는 건데 제가 이 나이 때 뭐 했나 생각해보면 PC방 다닌 기억밖엔 없는 것 같네요. 아무튼 1000만 뷰의 TOE, 600만 뷰의 더 보일드원 페노메놈에 이은 또 다른 문제작, 이 오디티 컴펜디움. 지금부터 저와 함께 감상하시죠.
Dr. Nowhere's Office of Wonders presents the Oddity Compendium, a beginner's anomaly education program. Welcome to the Oddity Compendium. Today, we will be learning about many wonderful and strange oddities that exist inside of, outside of, and around your universe. These strange phenomena can range anywhere from life forms, products, and organizations to even events and anomalous time periods. Important. The following information has been acquired from realities that may be separate from the one you are currently residing in. Please be aware that knowledge or comprehension of incompatible information may result in a conscious reality fracture.
첫 번째 소개드릴 개체는 플래시베드, 번역하자면 탈점 침대입니다. 또 다른 명칭은 포플루스 쿨키타로 이건 라틴어인데 뜻은 포플러 침대입니다. 이 개체의 타입은 기생형이라고 하네요.
Fleshheads or mattress folk are a species of parasitic subhuman that highly resemble bedding mattresses. The body of a dormant fleshhead appears identical to a standard mattress. However, slicing the thin sheet-like skin reveals many soft organs, limb-like appendages, and a humanoid head which hides beneath the skin. They were first discovered in the late 1960s when a mattress company was surveying excess storage. Upon finding many seemingly pristine mattresses that had not been sold, they gave them away to thrift shops and people in need. The people who received the mattress folk initially had no issues with faux beds. It wasn't until the air began to warm up that these beds awoke from their uneventful hibernations. The first reported victim was 19-year-old Alice Digere. She had been sleeping on a flesh bed for roughly 6 months before her sudden disappearance. After noticing the stench of sulfur and rot originating from her bed, her family called authorities, and the inside of the mattress revealed a feasting parasite, several hundred human bones, and a half-digested Alice. The method in which mattress folks sustain themselves is by waiting for the body heat of a host to wake them from their dormant state. Kind of like an egg, but not nearly as tasty. After they awake, they slowly unfold themselves from their soft mattress-like bodies. This process is very gradual and happens underneath its body or on its side so as not to be detected. After roughly a month of this process and on a night 17 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, its head and arms fully emerge and pull the sleeping host into its body, where prey is slowly digested. Not much is known about how these sleeping beauties came about, but it is theorized that since they are subhuman they were once a branch of Homo sapiens that merged with a mycelial network many years ago. Autopsies of fleshheads' digestive systems have revealed DNA samples from thousands of different people in each instance, some even tracing to people born during the 1600s. Another odd thing to note is that the mattress folk themselves contain DNA belonging to humans as well. One instance shared DNA in a blood type with Napoleon Bonaparte, leader of the French Republic during the time that the mattress folk were assumed to have come into existence. All in all, it might be a good idea to throw out that mattress that feels just a bit too warm lately. You might be sharing it with something unwanted. Good night, sleep tight, and don't let the bed light.
사람을 집어삼키는 침대, 플래시베드였습니다. 참고로 플래시베드의 사진, 저는 영상을 처음 봤을 때 이렇게 간지나는 선글라스를 쓴 것 같은 부분이 눈인 줄 알았는데 다시 보니 여기가 눈이고 여기는 입이더라고요. 플래시베드는 갑자기 하늘에서 뚝 떨어진 괴물이 아니었습니다. 근사체와 융합된 호모사피엔스였죠. 심지어 다른 차원에선 나폴레옹이 융합되기도 했다고 하네요. 영상을 보면서 분위기가 참 기괴하다고 느꼈는데 왜일까 생각해보니
That highly resemble bed
이렇게
mattresses.
개인화 희생자를 소개할 때
18-year-old
안중에
Alice
웃음소리
Fisher.
같은 연출을 통해 분명 공포스러운 걸 소개하고 그 내용이 가볍지도 않은데도 마치 코미디 쇼를 보고 있는 것 같은 역설적인 연출이 그 이유인 것 같습니다. 어쨌든 두 번째 개체로 넘어가서 머리 없는 대우주가 소개됩니다. 문둠 싱카피타는 역시 라틴어로 머리 없는 세계라는 뜻입니다. 하입은 가짜 세계, 질병입니다.
The headless macrocosm is a sub-reality nearly identical to Earth save for the fact instead of humans, tail-headless corpses remain in their stead. These corpses, though technically dead, do weakly breathe through the holes in their necks. Their hearts have also been observed to begin convulsing at seemingly random intervals. These beings are identical in appearance to one another aside from physical dimensions, which can vary severely between each corpse. The headless sub-people dwelling in this pocket reality have been observed changing their behavior when humans have physically interacted with them and apparently gain a level of awareness and vitality when such events occur. There are approximately 2,393 living humans residing in this reality, all from parallel Earth. Every single resident recounts waking up in the headless macrocosm after falling asleep under strange circumstances back in their home realities. No one back in their own parallel homes remembers their faces or identities, which leads to the belief that this place could be a form of anti-reality, a waste compartment of the universe used for aspects of reality that are useless or harmful to existential fabric. The humans that live in the headless macrocosm are assumed to be taking shelter in abandoned structures and banding together to search for plant-based food during the warmer times. Fun fact. Humans have coined multiple terms and nicknames for these headless corpses, such as stumpies, cranes, and ichabodies.
여기서 잠깐 이카바디라는 별명을 설명하자면 이카보드와 바디를 합친 말로써 1820년 워싱턴 어빙의 소설 슬리피 할로우의 전설의 주인공인 이카보드 크레인의 이름을 따와 붙인 별명인 것 같습니다. 왜냐면 슬리피 할로우의 전설이란 책은 목 없는 기사들에게 쫓기는 이야기라 지금 상황과 딱 맞아떨어지기 때문이죠.
Despite this sub-reality being detached from main reality, an incident took place which created a temporary tier between the two. A man residing in the headless macrocosm was walking through a field with a small house in the center. Upon reaching the house, the man unintentionally brushed up against one of the breathing bodies. This body, just before motionless aside from the labored convulsions, sprang to life and removed the head of the man. It then proceeded to attach the severed head to the stump of its own neck. The man's name was Michael Hedford. After the corpse had placed Michael's head where its own should be, an event occurred back on Earth in the year 2061 that resulted in governmental intervention. A family's call to the authorities described an impossibly tall naked figure appearing in their backyard. The presence of this oddity was highly distressing to the family, and they remained inside their home until the situation was resolved. The following photograph depicts this figure they spoke of. Michael Tedford's rotting head is affixed atop its frail neck. Shortly after the photo was taken, what was left of Tedford's existence was removed from the premises and taken to an upscale anomaly testing site. Apparently, this corpse was attempting to quite literally become Tedford by leeching off of his existence. These breathing bodies appear to be in a constant state of yearning to reconnect with the roots of reality again, as they have been taken a hold of by a dangerous and contagious disease. This disease appears to be non-existence itself. It can affect anyone on Earth at any time, and once it takes hold, the headless macrocosm deems you valid for residence within its endless meadows, filled with fellow patients. But don't worry, it's a rare diagnosis. Another fun fact. Occasionally, crude man-made structures will form seemingly out of nowhere in order to correspond with the structures on parallel Earth. As mentioned earlier, the headless macrocosm itself functions like a digestive tract of the universe, and these structures may be antibodies attempting to fight off the virus of non-existence. Now then, check your head. Screwed on tight. Great, because you might want to hang on tight to it for this next one.
비존재라는 질병에 걸려 원래 세계에서 잊혀지고 쓰레기통 같은 머리 없는 대우주로 가버린 사람들. 그 말로는 결국 목 없는 시체가 되는 것이었습니다. 마이클 테드포드의 이목을 이식해서 가까스로 한 가족에게 간 목 없는 시체. 그는 마이클 테드포드의 가족 곁으로 간 것일까요? 아니면 자신이 잊혀지기 전 원래의 가족에게 간 것일까요? 어느 쪽이든 좋은 결말은 나지 못했습니다. 세 번째 개체는 깨달음의 오벨리스크입니다. 일루스트라티오 게오메트리카는 이하학적인 계시라는 뜻이고 수수께끼의 신성 타입입니다.
The obelisks of enlightenment are a collective of monolithic beings that are currently residing in different remote locations across the world. Also known as the Fathers of True North, they appear in groups of 1 to 8 and stand anywhere from 10 to 150 feet tall. Each obelisk is levitated just barely above the ground and facing geodetic north. Though most of them reside in remote fields and deserts, they have also been found floating above the ocean within the vicinity of the Bermuda Triangle and even of the Moon. They are moving just ever so slightly and progress approximately 2 inches forward a year. These obelisks are enlightened in the infinitely vast secrets of the universe and are constantly vocalizing the excess information as a means of waste to counteract the overwhelming intake of knowledge. Though currently enclosed and monitored by government entities, many people had wandered into these locations prior claiming to be following the sound of angelic singing. This alluring hum emanating from these obelisks induces a massive increase in general intelligence in subjects listening. Folklore often refers to the frequency as the song of the divine contour. Each obelisk's biological elements are unraveled thousands of feet into the sky to make a metaphysical connection from Earth to the universe. It is assumed this is a form of knowledge worship, an attempt to make a mortal sacrifice for an immortal honor. Fun fact. These organs are confirmed to be those of the humans and other biological matter that were absorbed after enlightenment. Upon perceiving the words spoken by the obelisks or entering into close proximity with them, the human brain either spontaneously expands and combusts or receives an ability to comprehend the sacred information. Talk about being open-minded. Whenever a subject is able to comprehend this knowledge, they are biologically absorbed into the obelisk, becoming wholly unified with the being. It is not entirely understood how these anomalies were brought into existence, but they seem to be tears in the fabric of reality akin to black holes. Many speculate that these rifts were opened by ancient giants who were dissatisfied with a lack of Earth's knowledge. Many unnaturally large humanoid skeletons have been found underground adjacent to obelisk sites, further supporting this idea. When the obelisks made their debut on Earth, they aided in the construction of the pyramids of Giza by bestowing digestible levels of sacred knowledge onto Egyptian pharaoh Khufu after he was lured into the desert by their beckoning chords. This knowledge would help Khufu rationalize a possible blueprint and method for building these grand tombs, and they were made into the shapes of pyramids as a tribute to the divine structures. All in all, these obelisks may seem malevolent, but it's important to remember that no physical pain could ever outweigh the agony of infinite knowledge. Now, looks like our time here may be almost up. But before you go, it's time for a bonus oddity. This is Philbus. It is not known where Philbus comes from or why he is here, but there have been a number of people who, after consuming media depicting Philbus, have felt the overwhelming compulsion to practice Philbism. Philbism is a political and somewhat religious ideology which centers around a belief that building/consuming chairs and other wooden furniture is honoring Philbus' great sacrifice. It is not clear what this sacrifice is or what it refers to. Attributes and practices of Philbism include learning to build chairs, learning to properly digest chairs, promoting/discussing chair consumption on obscure internet forums, praising the fictional political candidate known as Philbus, who is said to advocate for making furniture consumption a socially accepted and widespread practice. There are so many wonderful things about Philbism. Consume the body of Philbus and become one with many others today. It's a great decision. Just eat from here to get started. Any mention of Philbism and elaboration on the subject will eventually result in it becoming a sponsorship or advertisement of sorts. We have no idea how to avoid this, sorry. All Fildists will deny the existence of Fildism when directly questioned about it. This video was not in any way sponsored by Fildism. This is for educational purposes only. Fildism does not even exist. You can stand up for Fildism certification here. The body is Fildist today. Or would you look at the clock? It's just about time for us to part ways.
A brief cleansing process will now commence. This purely auditory procedure will ensure you do not come away from this with any ailments from beyond contracted during your viewing experience. Please close your eyes and do not open them until told to do so. You may now open your eyes. Thank you for complying. Thank you for attending Dr. Nowhere's Office of Wonders. We hope that you enjoyed your stay.
닥터 노웨어의 이 오디티 컴펜디엄이었습니다. 어떠셨나요? 이 작품은 시청자들을 무섭게 해야지라기보단 시청자들을 더 궁금하게 해야지라고 느끼게 만드는 작품 같았습니다. 영상을 보고 나니 세계관 안에 다른 어떤 계기가 있을지 더욱 궁금해지지 않나요? 그리고 영상을 쭉 보며 제가 느낀 건 이거 완전 SCP 같은데 라는 생각이 들더라고요. 아날로그로에선 보통 괴물만 나오는 경우가 많은데 이 작품은 괴물뿐 아니라 세계 그 자체도 나와서 좀 더 포괄적인 괴이 현상을 보여준다는 점에서도 SCP와 비슷한 느낌이었습니다. 특히 마지막에 정신오염을 씻어내리기 위해 ASMR을 듣는 장면은 SCP 재단에서 밈적 오염을 제거하기 위해 기억 소거하는 것과 비슷하죠? 참고로 닥터 노웨어의 크리처 위키라는 사이트도 존재합니다. 닥터 노웨어가 제작한 아날로그 호러 크리처들을 정리한 사이트로 영상에선 나오지 않았던 소소한 설정들이 함께 제공되니 더 자세히 알고 싶은 분은 이 사이트를 방문해보세요. 아무튼 오늘 영상은 여기까지입니다. 텍스트 양이 많아서 번역하다가 보일드원이 될 뻔했는데 잘 끝낼 수 있어서 다행이네요. 그럼 다음 리뷰 영상에서 뵙겠습니다. 역시 필버스님이셔. 필기야 더